Good day YouTube. This video is about a new build that I'm trying to slowly craft and establish. I'm putting my plague break aside because it has been nerfed, so it's pretty important that I get something that's performing a little bit better in the current patch. I met somebody in Imperial City just a few days back, and he was incredibly kind and gracious enough to assist me with the crafting of this build. I think he went through with the USP build editor and came up with this combination for me, so I'm intensely grateful for that. This build, still a 1 bar, kind of similar to the old concept that I have. Just go in, do a quick job and get out, wham bam thank you ma'am, but focusing on crit instead, right? So the 5-piece armor that I'm using is actually the Order's Wrath, which is self-explanatory. It's kind of like a Mother's Sorrow on steroids. Alright, so I'm just going to run through the 7 pieces of armor that I have. You can pause screen anytime you want to have a look at the details. So I have like 4 medium, 2 heavy, and 1 light to utilize my Undaunted passive. For my monster set, I'm sticking to Belllock, right, because that is very useful to buff my spell damage as well as my penetration. Right. So for jewelry, my 3-piece set, I'm using agility to replace Potentis, get the spell damage at the same time to increase my stamina. Right. Oakensoul 1 bar as previously explained, and 1-piece trainee, right, to add health. So for all my 3 jewelries I use Infuse, and similarly for all 3 jewelries I use Multi-Effect Enchantment to get some STAM recovery as well as to increase the weapon and spell damage. Right? Resource recovery is important for this build because I'm going to be using Vampire Stage 3, so some of my recovery will be compromised. I'm trying to use the traits and the CP later to try to get these resources back. Right, for the weapons, I'm using Axe because for dual wield passive, I think the Axe actually increase your critical ratings. So 1 Nirnhorn and 1 Sharpen to up the spell penetration. Alright, so yep, I think that's about it for the equipment. Let me go through the CP. So here it is. Alright, in the blue tree, I have taken away all the previous CP that I have that help me increase spell damage. I've replaced them with things that help me in crit, because remember, this is a crit oriented build. So Backstabber to increase critical damage 10%, that's quite a lot. Ironclad, the usual. Master at Arms, right, that's also staple. And finally Fighting Finesse, which I do have previously as well. Right. Okay, for the red tree, pretty standard, sustained by suffering. Again, I mentioned about having the resource recovery element in your build. Celerity, because movement is key in the battlefield. Survival Instincts, again, reducing costs for all the skills that you might be spamming in the course of a battle, just so that you can last a little bit longer. Pain's Refuge for some damage mitigation. Okay, so let's look at the skills that I will be using, which essentially is what I've been doing all along. I want to make sure that I always have a dark magic spell cast, because one of the passives is that I get Minor Prophecy for 20 seconds, and that ups my critical rating again. So I want to have this on before the battle. Cast this at maybe at an NPC or at a, some random monster or something. So while my Dark Prophecy is on, I would then cast my Curse at an unsuspecting enemy. It's important that I ambush and have the first strike rather than the other way around, so that with my burst, whoever I'm fighting will be on the back foot and will be busy trying to heal himself or up his shields rather than fighting back, right? So I'll curse him, and usually at that time he may not still be aware that someone is going to be attacking him. Then I will streak to stun him. Right, with the enemy stun, I also get some benefits from dual wield. So after which I would launch my Dawnbreaker, and at about that time, hopefully the curse, the first curse will actually activate after 3.5 seconds, so that damage they're conflated together. After that, I would begin to spam silver shards, and hopefully a crystal frag would proc, and it will turn red, and I can launch another crystal frag. And if all these things have crit, we're talking about pretty serious damage, right? Which may not take out some of the tank metas out there, but it would severely reduce their health. Right. Okay, so without further ado, we can go straight into some of the gameplay. Here we go. Oh, and just before I forget, for Manders, I'll be using the Shadow. I think you can also try out with the Serpent. Obviously, these are both crit-friendly Manders stones. For food, we reach Sugar Skulls, and for potions, Tri-Stat potions. I also like at this point to reiterate that I play in Southeast Asia, so my latency average around between 190 plus to 200 plus. So there are certain rules of play that comes with the territory, pun intended. With this kind of lag, I would prefer to go with 1 bar, so I do not have to face any drop in performance every time I bar swap, have a respawn issue every time. I want battles to be quick and fast. The longer they drag, the more unresponsive my keys become, typically. And also I want to avoid having too many players in my screen, be it whether they are friend or foe, because once a ball group comes in, everything starts to get really choppy, and I'll start to miss my combo, mistime my combo, mistime my attacks, and things start to go south really quickly. Now previously I was using Exit Lag, and I must say it did help slightly, even though I no longer use it because I don't play ESO as much as before. But it's definitely an option you can explore if you want to combat really bad latency. Let's say if you're staying in the Australia area or Southeast Asia. Yeah, I'm not doing a promotion for them, I'm just stating it as it is. Okay, so I think that just about wrap up this video. I hope you enjoy some of the stuff that I've put together in this content. Do remember just to drop a like and a subscribe. Drop a comment if you disagree with anything in the build, or if you feel there's something that can value add upon it. Right, all opinions are welcome. Have a good day in Cyrodiil and Imperial City. Everyone, stay safe.